All right, I'm here with DeadlyDill Gaming, aka Dylan, and
Yes.
man, just grateful to have you here. Dylan is a friend, and we've known each other for years now, virtually. And man, I just love what you're doing on the online space, the Christian space, but specifically the gaming space. Dylan has the biggest Christian online gaming community. Just there's no one out there that we know of that is doing it bigger than Dylan in the Christian gaming space. He has a massive Discord community, and man, we're just going to get into what the Lord is doing in that space, and it's just an incredible thing. So I'll start off by asking you, Dylan, like, is there a story, or do you have anything that comes to mind as the craziest or coolest experience that you have seen through the Christian gaming community in the space that you're in?
Yeah, I mean, dude, I got a bunch of stories. But I think well, number one, I think the coolest story above everything is the fact that we've been able to see hundreds of people come to Jesus just from community, you know. Yeah. And we formed this community off of just obedience from the Lord. I didn't know this was going to happen. And you know, when I see the people that message me saying that their marriages are restored, that they're healed from addiction, that they're getting plugged into their church again, that they haven't read their Bible in like years, but now they're reading it again, or like they have more of a desire to go serve at their local church. I'm like, dude, like I didn't come out, like there wasn't like, you know, wasn't like crazy sermons or crazy leadership trainings or like, you know, crazy gospel presentation that we presented. It was simply just like creating community that people felt ostracized, you know, outside of, you know, even at church and stuff like that, because of their love for gaming, their love for D&D, their love for different things, trading cards, Pokemon, whatever it is. And now we've created something that is just changing people's lives just simply because community exists. You know, there's that. I mean, like I said, we've seen people, you know, seen so many people come to Christ. We've seen people message me saying that they were on the verge of divorce when they joined this community, and then like a year later, their marriage is stronger than ever because of like what the Lord has done here. And I'm just like, come on, that's just crazy. You know, I think those are the craziest things of what I can, you know, I just don't understand it sometimes. I'm just like, all right, Lord, like, we're building this community, you know, with the best we can, and we're doing things, you know, based off of like, you know, whatever knowledge I've had in the digital space before from being a pastor even too, and we're just seeing God move, dude. And I don't know how to explain it other than just like the Lord is just blessing obedience, and the Lord is blessing the community, because it's changing lives. It's really simple. It's really expanding the kingdom in ways that we never could have imagined. You know, and we're seeing people from like 6 different continents who are plugged into our community. We're showing churches like how powerful digital community is. It's pretty surreal, dude. It's pretty surreal.
Yeah. What I think is crazy too is like this is happening in the gaming space, right?
Yeah.
You're talking about like marriages being restored, people coming to Christ, like people reading their Bible more, like all of these things that we strive for as a Christian community. If you show up to church, like this is what your pastor and your preacher wants to see. They want to see people coming to Christ. They want to see people, you know, fulfilling their walk as a husband and wife. You know, they want to see all these things. But this isn't happening in the walls of a church. It's happening in a Discord community where people came together because they share the common interest of gaming and they claim Christ. And it's just, that to me just shatters the argument of like, God can only move in these spaces or only works here. It's like, no, like the Lord is reaching people in all these different areas. And honestly, I'll just say this real quick. It reminds me of, you know, years ago, I remember like these like skateboard ministries popping up. There was one like local to where I lived. They had like, I think it was like a coffee shop, and they had like some ramps in the back of the shop. And like people were like weird about it. Like, oh, you can't have God in skateboarding because it's like this weird grungy, like,
dude, all the time, bro.
Like, a lot of stuff in the skate community can be, you know, not good. Like there's drug use and different things, right? And so they're like, oh, you can't do this, whatever. But it's like, no, like the Lord was using people to minister the gospel to that specific community, to reach those people. And I think that's where like Christians, I don't know why, but we get this like jaded view on like we can't go and proclaim the gospel in these like niche areas because like it's not Christian, or they're doing things that aren't good, or whatever it might be. And it's like, no, the Lord is reaching people. He's using people. He's sending people to go reach them.
Yeah, and to say to that too, it's like, you know, I think our extent of evangelism within inside of the church has been confined to, I'm going to invite my friends to church, or invite people that I know that don't know the Lord, and I'm going to have my pastor preach to them.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to have my pastor, which again, there's nothing wrong with bringing people to church. There's nothing wrong with that. But I feel like since that's kind of been what's been ingrained in us, and even especially in the evangelical movement and stuff like that too, it's very much, again, like bring everyone to church. Like, we want to get everyone saved, which is fine. Do that. But it doesn't. But I feel like since we have that mindset, like you said, like reaching people in unconventional ways is kind of frowned upon. You know, and it's like, you know, especially the things, you know, like for us, we're not trying to become a church or anything like that, like a digital church. We're literally trying to come alongside the church and be like, hey, we're seeing people saved, like, and they're a part of you know, we have community members who are part of your church that are witnessing and seeing people come to Jesus. And I think that if we just opened our you know, hearts a little bit more to stuff that's unconventional, that we would begin to see more people come to Christ. I mean, there's 3.5 billion gamers on Earth.
Wow.
You know, that's like half the world's population games. And so, like, why wouldn't we'd be silly. Like, everyone games. Lawyers game, doctors game, pastors game. You know, we've even had some professional athletes join, like, our community, and because they game and, like, they're believers. So it's like, it's just everyone, you can reach everybody, you know, from through gaming. And it's just crazy to see, you know, and God's moving in a powerful way that is just unconventional. And that I think that it's starting to be honest, the church is starting to open their eyes a little bit more to digital, like, ministry and stuff like that, with different, like, gaming ministries that are reaching youth all over the world, you know, that I'm even, you know, connected to. But it's just, you know, it's not like it was 7 years ago when I started this. You know, everyone was kind of like, gaming, like, that's, you're reaching people for Jesus through gaming. Like, yeah. It's like, isn't that weird? I'm like, no, but you know, it's like, but now it's becoming more like, especially when you're showing the results of it, because people are like, oh, that's cool. Like, but if I'm like, hey, like, you know, people are always like, you can't use gaming. I'm like, dude, 500 souls say it otherwise. You know, like, it's just, you can't argue with me that it's not that, you know. So anyway, that's, again, no, I agree with you 100%. Just opening the doors more to unconventional ways to share the gospel to the ends of the earth, you know.
Yeah. If it's not sin, it's like, I would never promote, like, go get drunk to reach people.
Right.
But I mean, there are people, I think, who do think playing video games is a sin, but that's a whole different, we don't even need to get into that. But it's like, if we're not sinning to reach people with the gospel, then it's like, I think it's fair game. So with all that though, how many people right now do you have in the Discord community?
Just about, almost, we're like teetering between, like, 16,000 right now, so we're very close. There's like, it's like 30 more people, and then we're at 16,000.
I don't know.
It's crazy.
Like, everyone listening to this will understand, like, how impactful that is. It's like, we're not talking about like 16,000 followers on Instagram or TikTok or something. Like, these are people who saw content on social media platforms and said, hey, I'm going to actually go off of the platform and join this Discord community because I want to be a part of it, because it's connecting with me. I feel like there's something happening here. Like, I want to experience being a Christian, walking out and living my faith while also enjoying this hobby of gaming with other people who also share the same thing. So it's like 16,000 people in a Discord community is a huge thing. So, I mean, congratulations to you, man. Like, that's awesome. Thank you for what you're doing, because that is huge. That is so big. And, you know, praise the Lord for what he's doing in this community as well. So, I would say, what do you think is actually, let me ask you this. Why do you think that there are still people, so I know you said it's not as bad as it was, but why do you think there are still people or churches who are so against kind of like this gaming, reaching people with gaming, or even just Christians playing video games, like that whole viewpoint?
Yeah, you know, to be honest, there's moments that I'm still confused about it, because, you know, playing a video game, you know, I'm sure there's people who watch movies that have, you know, violence in it and things that aren't, you know, necessarily, you know, of the Lord, or TV shows and stuff like that. But for whatever reason, people draw the line with gaming pretty hard. And maybe it's because you're controlling the character that's doing it. I don't know, but I just think the unknown and just, you know, the digital space is just still for, you know, 80% of churches is still very, like, foreign. And, like, how can you build personal connection? That's a big one that we have, is like, they're not real people. It's like, we are real people. We're just chatting online, you know, like, and, you know, a lot of people don't understand that. And a lot of people also think that, you know, if you do stuff on the digital space, like, you know, it can't replace church. Like, we're not trying to replace church. And I think a lot of people are afraid that people are going to stop going to church because we're doing ministry online, you know. We got a lot of people who don't have churches they go to, but we still push them to go to local churches. But for now, we're the place that they get fed, and that's okay. You know, it's like, we're not trying to be anything else. But I think just overall, just it being foreign to people, anything that's foreign to people, or doesn't make sense to people, is usually labeled as bad for the most part. And we've seen that a lot of times. We've seen a lot of people, because they don't understand it, they automatically think that it's not good, or that because of a lack of understanding, they don't want to try, and so they don't even bother, right? And so it's like, people are like, how can you do that? Well, it's simple. The same thing as if you're going on the street, trying to street evangelize. Like, I hop into a game with proximity chat, and I talk to people, and I just pray for people, and I lift them up, and I do it through content. It's the same kind of thing as if I was going out in person to evangelize. However, the cool part is that I can reach people all over the world through this room. And I don't think people understand that. I mean, like, digital space is massive. I mean, I know this is a funny funny stat to share, like, with this, but, like, to put in perspective, since like 2013 to now, it's like online dating has like jumped to like 500% or something like that. Just insane, right? Like, people are making like lifelong decisions based off of people they meet online.
I met my wife online.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So it's like one of those things where it's like, it's funny how we won't be like, oh, you can't meet someone online, you're gonna, and then, everyone's okay with like meeting people online and then marrying them off a dating app. But when it comes to video games and like, so that's where we draw the line a little bit. It's like, wait a second. But the online space is where everyone connects. Like, the cool part about our community is that people are able to connect with the body of Christ 24/7. Like, nothing, no knock at a local church at all. Like, I love the local church. I am very pro local church. At the same time though, like, Sunday and Wednesday aren't enough for me.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be connected to the body of Christ. And the problem is, most churches are not good at creating community.
Yeah.
Most churches are good at creating people to serve on their teams, to serve teams. A lot of churches are really good at small groups. Nothing wrong with small groups, but when that small group's done, from my experience at least, and a lot of others, it's like, well, okay, we're done. It's like, all of a sudden you just stop talking to those people because you're not doing small group weekly, and you didn't really build connections. Like, we kind of just do small groups to do small groups without the intent of like, let's build lifelong community. Yeah. And I'm very like, very see it through the lens of like Acts chapter 2, where the believers gathered daily. They did life together. They hung out in each other's homes. They ate together. And also, like, the believers lacked nothing. Like, everyone had what they needed. Like, there was no lack. And we've taken that very, very seriously. I mean, to the point, man, like, people in our community are traveling the country to meet each other.
Wow.
Like, we just had like 35 people go to the Ark, encounter, so like, from all over, and just came together. Rented an Airbnb, and they did like live worship for us on Discord. Like, it was so cool, and so they're doing that. We've even had 2 people. We've had 4 people. No, like 2 couples get married and engaged in our community.
Come on.
They're just saying, and then like they're leaders in our community, and they're awesome, and they're doing it, and it's so cool to see. And like, we're just creating this, we're creating this atmosphere where people can come together 24/7, and then also too, like, we make sure that, everyone in our community, there's a lot of needs, and we fulfilled a lot of needs. I think we've given over, between everyone in the community, I think we've blessed about people with over like $50,000 since the last, since this past year, of like paying bills, paying rent for people that are struggling, giving groceries, even helping people with newborns, like with diapers, covering medical expenses, covering rent for people. Like, we're very pro that. And so like, we've built that as a community, and it's really, it shows honestly, it shows the hands and feet of Christ in a big way. It's just in a digital 100%. Space. It's like, I've made lifelong friends online. Like, I've met people online that I'm like super close to, that, I mean, even people I didn't realize, like, when I, built the server and I was connecting to people, like, there's people that live like 10 minutes down the street from me. And like, I have coffee with them every month. It's like, but that was all from online space. It wasn't from like church. And again, it's not saying you can't build community at church, but I think people are craving community so much that they're looking elsewhere.
Yeah.
And that's the sad part, especially, and in both churches. I think within small churches and big churches, you can lack community, depending. But I've noticed, based off of experience, that sometimes going to bigger churches, it's a little harder to find that connection easier. Like, for the first time ever, I'm not a pastor, as far as like at a church, but like, going to a church where I'm like, dude, usually I'm on leadership team, and like, now I just don't know what's going on. I don't know hardly anybody. Been going to the church for a year, been trying to get plugged in and everything, serving, and I'm like, dude, I'm still out there with like nobody, And again, it's not a bad thing. It's not a knock on anything, but I think we could do better of creating community, even within the digital space with churches, for their church to remain connected. So
yeah. No, I completely agree. I think that, everyone needs to be a part of a local community church body, but Christianity is a lifestyle. It's every day. And so, to your point, it's like, you can find other avenues to stay connected to believers, to be participating, serving, whatever that looks like. It doesn't just have to be at your church. And again, like, churches aren't typically doing things every single day of the week. Some churches definitely have more stuff going on, but it's like, go to do your Sunday, if there's another night you go to church, to Bible study, small groups, whatever, do those things. But then in the in-between, find ways where you're also still connected. And in the digital world that we live in, like, it is easier, I think, more now than ever to do that. So the fact that you guys have a place for gamers who are Christians to do this is really important. But not just that, like, it is clearly fruitful. Like, you already have said, like, people coming to Christ, marriage is restored, people getting married, people's physical, financial needs being taken care of, people coming together physically from meeting digitally to worship, praise the Lord, to do things like an Ark encounter. Like, these are all things that are, like you said, the hands and feet of Jesus are really happening here. So, man, it's just so cool to hear. It's encouraging. It's like, obviously I'm in the digital space, not in gaming, but it's like to know, like, man, the digital space really is impacting people. And to your point, it's like you can reach people from your room, wherever. And one thing I love about content is, like, I could be sleeping and someone could come to Christ through hearing the gospel from my video.
Right.
Like, that to me is like just such a mind blowing, like, cool thing.
Right. Exactly.
To get back to kind of what you're doing here, one thing I do want to talk about, which we'll get to in a moment, is like the evangelizing on video games. But before we do that, I want you to share kind of like how you even got into the gaming space. I know you said, like, this was the Lord was like pushing you this way, but I know you've been doing content online for a while. You've been doing gaming for a while. So kind of just share your story and how that happened.
Yeah. So I was a youth pastor in Louisiana, and during COVID, obviously everything kind of shut down and I couldn't do a whole lot. But I actually started doing some streaming like at the end of 2019, before COVID happened. I was just doing it for fun. Cause like I, moving from California to Louisiana was a culture shock enough, and didn't have family or anything out there. And we had my brother-in-law was the worship pastor and stuff like that. But you know what I mean? Like, there's like just even more friends and stuff like that. I lost, all my friends were still in California and didn't have that community built yet. And so I was like, you know what? I keep hearing people building friendships and community online. Like, let's try and see if we can make that happen too. So that's why I started streaming. And then COVID hit in March of 2020, and I was like, all right, Lord, all right, we gotta, let's see what we can do with, streaming, and see what we can do even just involving our youth students and figuring out ways to connect with them that way. So we started doing Fortnite and Warzone and everything like that. And then I saw someone preaching the gospel on stream, another streamer, and I was like, oh, you can do that. And I said, bet. So I decided that's what I'm going to do. So throughout 2020, 2021, while we were trying to get back on our feet from COVID, I was just going after it, dude. Like, I was, grew on TikTok, grew on all platforms, doing content. And we just saw God move. We saw about 75 people come to Jesus through Call of Duty, which was awesome, through playing Warzone and stuff. And then we saw, and then we just started doing it, dude. I was just like, this is what I want to do. This is what I feel. This is right. This feels awesome. And we're just gonna keep moving forward. And then, obviously took a little bit of a break in between, just due to like financial stuff and, everything going on in life. But then, I felt just in 2025, the Lord really just pressed on my heart to bring his people together. And I was like, all right, God, let's see what this does, and I did it. And then within 24 hours, we had 2,000 people join the community, and I was like, this is wild, Lord. Okay, whatever, and so I just started doing that and cultivating it, and it turned into something that I didn't think that it would, because this is not on my list. It was always a dream of mine and a desire of mine for people, for the digital space, and for people to connect in the digital space, and for the church to understand how powerful it is. But I also I also wasn't the plan of like this. So creating all this wasn't a thought. It was a dream and a prayer that I had, but I just, as I was growing, I was working a different job and everything like that. I was like, all right, Lord, maybe this is the way that I'm supposed to do it. And God shifted some things and moved some things around, and here we are today, man. And so it just kind of started with a desire to have community, which is funny because it's exactly what a lot of people join our community for. But I've always been a gamer though. I've gamed since I was 6. So I've been gaming for a very, very long time. And so the fact that we can stream it and use it to share the gospel has been out of this world, and just kind of surreal sometimes. You wake up in the morning, you're like, wow, this is what I get to do today. And it's just crazy to think about what, all the Lord's doing through that.
Yeah, man, it's so good and it's so cool. It is funny that it's like, initially you're like, man, I'm just looking for community. Let's play games. Let's get the youth involved.
Right.
And I will say too, it's like COVID was one of those things where it's like it felt like almost like an attack from the enemy in a way of like, let's split people apart. Like, there was so much, even just like from a data and analytical standpoint of like not being with people, like, is really, really bad. Even secular people are like, this separation from people is not good. And so from a Christian standpoint, it's like, man, our communities, our churches aren't meeting, like, things are not good here. But what we saw out of that was the birth of online Christian spaces like nothing before, where Christians are like, hey, we're going to get online and we're going to start to preach and teach and live stream and whatever we need to do to get together and still preach the good news. And we've just ever since then seen such an explosion of Christian content in all aspects on the internet. And so I think it's one of those things where I just feel like, you know, what the enemy meant to like destroy people, like, the Lord used it to bring people together to build up things. And so I think your story is a testimony of that. Like COVID hit and like you just saw an increase in things. And I know like your journey, it hasn't been perfect. My journey hasn't been perfect of like, you know, we've seen like great increase online. We've seen dips. We've seen all sorts of things. And you know, make changes. Like no journey I don't think is ever just always smooth sailing, right? But it just shows what the Lord is still doing, working through us, working on us. Like we're imperfect vessels and he's using us just to reach people online right now. And so, man, it's just so encouraging and cool to just hear like how, like you said, it just started with, I want community. So like now you have 16,000 people in a Discord and the community is very real active and the Lord is working through it. So really cool. Next thing I want you to kind of talk about is evangelism wall gaming. So you mentioned kind of like praying for people and, you know, just preaching the gospel, whatever that looks like. So that is such a like, I don't know, it's such a cool concept for me. I've grown up playing video games too. And, you know, always love playing multiplayer video games more than anything. And now with where there's like the, what do they call it? Where you can chat with people like
open mic and proximity.
Proximity chat. Thank you. So it's like the proximity chat feature. I know when that first came out, I think it was like Call of Duty, I think was the first one who released it. It's like, man, that's such a like mind blowing like type of, in my first thought, and I think most people's was like, man, people are going to talk so much crap.
Oh, and they do. They do still,
Like, Christians are like, no, we can use this to evangelize. And so anyways, just speak to that.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. I mean, like games like Arc Raiders, Call of Duty, I mean, like we'll hop in with the whole goal of, okay, let's go talk to somebody. Let's go connect with like, you know, in Arc Raiders, it's especially easy to do. And being able to go up to someone and just, hey, like, you know, just going around and just wanting to see if you need prayer for anything. We love Jesus and we're just trying to spread some light in Arc Raiders. You know, if you want prayer, awesome. If not, dude, no stress. But we're just here to, you know, we just want to share what the Lord has done in our life and hopefully it does the same to you. And we've had some really cool moments. We've had some guy like really just like, you know, open up and was like, hey man, like I'm going through separation with my wife. We just had a baby too. And like, I'm trying to be better and blah, blah, blah. So we were able to do that. We had some guy say that like, you know, he's buying a Bible for his sister and like, cause his dad had just recently passed and he's trying to like make sure his sister stays on track. And we've had people saying like, man, my sister has like, you know, or her brother has like a brain tumor. Can you please pray? And so like we do like, it's so funny how like open people are. Now I've had people that obviously have said no, but it's just been really cool to be able to do that. And I don't know, it feels cool. I mean, like I get to play a game and enjoy it. And then I get to, you know, hopefully bring people to the Lord. And we've done that in there. We've done that in Apex, Fortnite, Marvel Rivals, Final Fantasy 14, Warframe. Like we've done it in a lot of platforms throughout our community with the different people playing the games, and it's just been super cool to see. I mean, we've even trained up. We're partnered with a gaming organization called Satellite Gaming, and they reach schools. They do school programs and stuff like that to, you know, reach people, reach the students and stuff. But they have this whole thing where it's called Gamers of Peace, and it's based off of Luke chapter 10, where Jesus sends people 2 by 2. And to different places, same thing. So like we'll partner up and we'll go out to the different games 2 by 2 and like, hey, do you want prayer? No, we don't. Okay, we'll move on. You know, dust our feet off and keep going. But we've trained about 180 people to do that within our community. And so next month we're starting to do like evangelism nights where we're gonna have everyone partner up with somebody, get somebody to, you know, game with, and then we're gonna go out and evangelize to all games in the gaming space. So really, really cool. Valorant Quick Play is also another one that's been really successful. But yeah, the Lord's just moving, dude. So I mean, it's as if I'm just going outside, I'm going on a street corner, and I'm sharing the gospel with somebody, street preaching, but I'm doing it in video games. You know, and there's real results too. It's not like less than, it's not better than either. I think both are needed, but we're able to reach people that no one else can reach. I'm reaching people that a street preacher can't reach.
Yeah. 100%.
You know, and they're reaching people that I can't reach because I'm not out there. I'm in the digital space trying to reach people. And so I think that if we see both forms of ministry and evangelism as equal, that people will start seeing like the importance of what we're doing.
Yeah, 100%. No, I was thinking, when you were describing it, I'm like, I can envision like people going out to the streets and like, you know, just typical evangelism, asking people for prayer, conversation, talk about Jesus. But like you said, you're just doing it in the digital space. So I just think it's so cool. And I will say, I believe that there are so many people, a lot of people who are willing to be more vulnerable and open behind the screen, behind their keyboard, because the second you're face to face with someone, some people will open up, some people will be vulnerable,
Yep.
for sure.
Yep.
But I think more often than not, you know, in the digital space, when people, their face isn't shown, they're willing to share and be vulnerable and share
Without
things
a doubt.
you're able to kind of get into the depth of these people's souls in a way and say, okay, now we can pray for this exact thing. We
Yep.
can really minister to the heart. We can share something very specific to what they need in their life because they were able to open up because they feel safe doing it behind the screen. And man, I think it is so needed. I know you mentioned like, what is it, 3.5 billion gamers?
Yep.
It's like, how many of those people aren't ever stepping outside? How many of those people are, you know, social anxiety, scared of what, you know, whatever it might be, right? And you
Yeah.
have to reach those people.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, you say that is because there's actually a whole group in Japan called the I'm gonna butcher the name. It's called like the Kiki Kadori or something like that, and they actually have secluded themselves from real life, and they solely do things online. That's it.
Yeah.
They'll only go out to like go get the essentials, and they'll come back and they'll interact with the real world, but only interact online. And so there's a ministry called Undark that is reaching those people too through the gaming space and everything like that too. And so we partnered up with them as well. So, but there are those people. There's people that just don't have social anxiety, and as much as we want them to come to church, and you know, honestly, sometimes we try to force them. It just can't. Like, there's people who just don't want to go until they're delivered and healed, and they see who Jesus is and see that they can't. I mean, we've had people that have dealt with social anxiety, even in our community, that are going to church again.
Come on.
You know, like I'm always scared of big crowds, but now I'm here and I'm like, dude, let's go. Dude. You know, it's a 50 person, you know, it's only like a smaller church where I'm like, okay, it's not that big of a crowd, but I understand, you know what I'm saying? But so they're baby steps. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we've seen that happen. And so there's people that are just online that just don't have anything else. And so we're able to go in there and reach them and hopefully get them connected to a church or connected to a pastor, or if, you know, as long as they're, you know, but if they're here, we're pouring into them. We have everything that a church has, but just on a, you know, just on a different, you know, it's a different level, it's a different thing, but we're not trying to replace the church. We're trying to be, we're trying to, you know, supplemental. Like, if someone doesn't have a Bible study, we got Bible studies. If you don't have a small group at your church, hey, we got small groups. Yeah. If you don't have anyone to ask questions to, we have a whole faith team that can help answer your deep faith questions, you know? And so we're providing even stuff for new believers, you know, taking people through the Alpha course, you know, like who are new believers. And so we do every other week, you know, every week right now, we're going through like a new Alpha course thing for people who are new believers or rededicated. And so that way they can get a better connection, you know? Yeah. But again, that's all because, not because we're trying to replace, but we're trying to, you know, because some people who get saved, they don't know where church, they don't know where to go to church.
No, yeah.
They don't understand it. They don't understand church culture. They don't understand. They just heard the gospel and they're like, all right, let's do it. Yeah. So we provide all that.
Churches honestly are not good at bringing in people like that. There's a lot of churches that are, but unfortunately there are a lot of churches that when you walk in, they have their own agendas, and if you're a new believer, it can really hurt someone's walk. And, you know, the Lord can work through anything, and he can redeem people from anything. So I'm not saying it's an end all be all thing that happens to people, but unfortunately I've heard stories time and time again. And so having a space where you guys are really being intentional about training up people who are new to the faith, I mean, really in all aspects of their walk, it's clear that you guys are hitting all those areas. Yep. It's just so important to have that, and again, just in a space that just needs to be reached and is reached. And I think about too when the Bible talks about bringing the gospel to all the ends of the earth. I don't know if it specifically says all the corners, but I believe this is one of the corners, like one of the places now that's in our world where the gospel needs to be advanced, you know, and that until the gospel reaches all the ends, I could be wrong here, but isn't that when Jesus, one of the requirements? Once everyone's heard
the gospel, yep.
Yeah, 100%. So it's like, well, this is a way to do it, and that's a reason why I'm online too. It's like I'm able to reach people on the other side of the world that maybe missionaries struggle to get to or is dangerous, but if they have an internet connection, you know, anyone who's sharing the gospel online, that video could pop up for them and they could receive the gospel of Jesus Christ. And so, yeah, man, I just think it's critically important.
Well, yeah, it's huge too, because like, I don't know, you know, it says go, you know, preach the, you know, make disciples of all nations. Mm-hmm. And it's not, you know, we've heard this, I think all of us at this point should know this is not about like a country, it's about people groups, and gamers are people group. They are a people group that desperately need to hear the gospel, dude. I mean, like I've had the privilege of going to several different cons, like TwitchCon or DreamHack or these bigger gaming events, and it's dark, dude. People need Jesus so bad, man. They need the Lord. They need healing. They need a touch from God. You know, like they were even doing tarot card readings at TwitchCon. Like I was like, dude, what the heck is going on? Like line out the door, dude. I'm like, what the heck? Like it's so funny how we're so open to that, but when it comes to like, hey Jesus, and they're like, ugh, I don't want anything to do. I was like, but you'll listen to a card? Like let's get, you know, let's be so for real. Yeah. Anything but God. It's like, dude, So anyway,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's 100%.
warfare. Yeah.
Yep.
And to your point, like it is very dark, and like, you know, I grew up in internet culture. I grew up gaming as well, and so like, you know, I remember Modern Warfare 2 lobbies. I remember World of Warcraft chats. Like I remember the stuff people talked about, said like it is the world, it is the worldly things now in a digital space. And again, to my point of like people feel more safe behind a screen, that means they feel more safe to say things that are crazy that you would never say to someone's face.
Gosh, yeah.
That is either going to tear someone down or be very explicit in whatever nature. And so it is a very dark space. And then when you have those people coming together in person, it's like that is what's being fostered and built up. And there is definitely, I would be confident enough to say there's an antichrist spirit behind a lot of what is happening in the gaming space. And so you do have to bring the Holy Spirit into the gaming space to counter that and say, no, we're going to bring people to Christ. We're not going to foster this antichrist spirit. And so that's why what you guys are doing is just, it's so important, man. It is so important. Anyone who's like, you know, Christians shouldn't be gaming, doing whatever. It's like, I can't get behind it. I do think there's wisdom in like, if you're addicted to video games, like, maybe get off video games and like handle your responsibility. Because I can speak from experience on that. There was many years where I was addicted to video games. My wife actually called me out, saying, hey, you're addicted to video games. Like, you need to stop. And so I did that, and it was a huge benefit to my life to get off of video games for literally like months. And then the only time even now that I play video games is if I'm playing with my kids. Like, I do not just go and play video games, and that's not because I'm anti-video games. It's because I have other priorities that I have to handle. And in my life, I also know that I tend to get addicted to them very quickly, and it's like I will have a hard time getting off of them.
Right. So, but that's not because of video games, though. You know what I'm saying? That's not, it's video games isn't the issue in there. It's the self-control.
Yes.
Right. And so a lot of people will be like, let's go ahead. And that's why Jesus, in my opinion, when it comes to, when we talked about the Sermon on the Mount, he says, hey, like, you've heard it said that, you know, not to commit adultery. But I tell you that if you look at a woman, then you have, so he's not talking, it's not the action of it. It's the thought, it's the self-control. It's the, honestly, going by the fruit of the Spirit. And like, if I don't have self-control, then I'm going to allow every single thought, every single temptation, every single whatever to overcome me. Honestly, I'm just going to fall for it every single time if I don't have self-control, if I don't follow that. And so a lot of people will look at things like video games or you know, food, or look at other things and be like, oh, like, you know, this is the issue. It's like, no, the issue is self-control. The issue is because this person doesn't have enough peace in their life that they're searching for other things to get peace, or this person doesn't have enough patience, so they're going off on the deep end doing something else. It's really addressing the heart, not the action. That's exactly what Jesus did. Jesus addressed the heart first. You know, it's like same thing with, like, you know, you've heard it, you know, not to murder. But Jesus says that even if you're angry with somebody and you curse them in your anger, you're in danger of the fires of hell. Like, it's about the heart. And a lot of people will see just like video games, like, oh, this person did this or that. No, it's simply because of a lack of self-control and a lack of, honestly, if we don't have self-control, it equals a lack of connection to the Spirit, to be honest. And so it's requiring us to dive deeper into our relationship with God, because we can do all the things all day, like as far as, like, you know, setting yourself up for success or doing, you know, practical things. But if we're not connected to the Lord, we're always going to fall right back into the same place because we're doing things off of our own strength. Now, don't get me wrong. There's no reason not to set up parameters if you're someone who is addicted easy when it comes to like gaming or other things like that. Same time, you need to address the heart of the issue, which is obviously getting connected to the Lord. You know, get connected to God, resist the devil and he'll flee. Cling to God and he'll cling to you. Like all these things. But I think a lot of times we just focus on the action, not necessarily the heart or the spirit behind it.
100%, man. And that's like, you know, even just there's a few things I want to say about this because you brought some really good points. So like when I was addicted to masturbation, pornography, it's like I was always focused on trying to beat that sin, resist that sin. It wasn't until I really started focusing on Christ that I actually overcame it, right? And so both things are true. It's like you said, like you want to set up boundaries, you want to set up healthy habits, accountability, like all those things are so important, and those things are biblical as well. But you also, if you're not focusing on Christ, if you're not going to the source, you're never going to address the root. For me, I know that I'm addicted to I can be addicted to video games. I have been addicted to video games. So I have to set up boundaries to make sure, hey, I'm only going to play for a certain amount of time. I'm only going to play with my kids, like whatever that might be. But at the same time, it's like, I know that I need to focus on the Lord. So I would use video games as like a coping mechanism as well. If things weren't good, if I was upset, it's like, well, I could just go play video games, get a dopamine fix, distract myself from all my problems. So it's no different than getting high on something or getting drunk. It's like, just distract myself, feel good for a little bit. But then it's like, obviously you never address the problem. So it's like, I have to address the root issue of like the problems in my life, of my self-control, but also set up healthy boundaries. And all you can say too, like with most people are addicted to scrolling,
Oof,
or
yeah, dude.
if they're not playing video games, they're watching Netflix for hours on end every day or every night or whatever that might look like. And it's just setting up those healthy boundaries of like, hey, I have a self-control issue because these things are trying to grab my attention. They do want to suck me in because companies are intentional about that. So what can I do to make sure I have healthy boundaries and I'm focusing on Christ?
Yep, exactly. And I think too, I mean, that goes to every area though. I mean, I think too often we focus on fixing the sin, right? Or fixing the issue. When the thing is, if you really, really think about it, and correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Jesus already defeat that on the cross?
Yeah.
So why do we need to try to overcome sin when Jesus done it right already? So again, I'm not saying that you don't put parameters or anything like that. What I'm saying is that Jesus has already won the victory over the struggles that we do have. So the best thing to do is to submit our lives to him and follow him. And when we follow Jesus, naturally, I don't want to follow my fleshly desires anymore. Naturally, I don't want it. I don't want those things in my heart. Like just because I've been set free, of pornography and masturbation as well, like doesn't mean that I don't get there's no temptation that doesn't come through. But now since I've grown closer to the Lord and developed my relationship, instead of it being this intense moment where it's like, oh my gosh, I'm being tempted, like it's like I feel, it's just like kind of like a fly that's buzzing around.
Yeah.
That's just like, it's just annoying. Like, get out of here. Like, no, like stop. Yeah, I know how to get a fly swatter, and I'm going to go ahead and swat the fly. Like, go ahead and shoot. I know eventually another fly is going to try. So it's just taking that fly swatter and just continue to beat, to kill that temptation that's inside of us. And it also reveals an opportunity for us to be, okay, God, temptation is a revealing of the sinful desires in our heart. So God, like if I'm getting tempted, God, continue to like destroy these sinful desires in my heart because I know they're not of you. Because if we go it from that standpoint, instead of being like, oh, I got to stop looking at porn, or I got to stop overeating, or I got to do this, or I got to stop lying or gossiping, like we focus so often on trying to put a Band-Aid on it or trying to fix the issue when Jesus has already died for that if we simply were just to follow him and honestly, if I can be real, be okay like if you stumble. Yeah. Dude, it's going to happen. We're not perfect. Like, God's not being like, well, I expect perfection out of you. And if you mess up one time, exactly. Yeah. But we're not using it as an excuse to be like, well, God will give me grace later. But again, we know that there's this battle that's not flesh and blood, but it's in the spirit, man. And we're fighting constant things that are trying to overthrow and everything. Even the Lord talks about it. He says even in Genesis chapter 4, when Cain was angry, was frustrated, and God's like, hey, won't you be accepted if you do what is right? And he's also said like, hey, be careful, sin is crouching at the door, but you must be master over it. And it's like, dude, it's there. There's the warnings are there. Just making sure that we're not, we're on guard and we're following the Lord and we're doing what is right, and everything else kind of falls into place. And I think people try to get themselves like, I gotta be better so that way God can help me. No, God wants to help you right now. Yeah. He's not shocked by you stumbling. He's not shocked by you, as you're trying to overcome something. You know what I'm saying? Like when I was trying to overcome it, there was moments where I was like, dang it, I slipped. It's like, but all right, hey, you know what? We're going to keep going. We're going to pick ourselves up and we're going to keep going. Like, I know, Lord, okay, God, thank you for, and almost like, God, thank you for showing this to me in the moment that I stumbled, because now I can see, okay, there's just still this root in my heart that I need to pray for and get connected to. I'm not trying to race like, how can I fix this? No. God, I need more of you. If I continue to sin and I continue to put other things before God, the reaction should not be, I need to throw everything away or I need to do whatever. It's no, God, I need to draw closer to you. Yeah. And I need to, again, there's nothing wrong with practical side, but I need to draw closer to you. I need to make sure that I'm connected to you. I need to make sure you're a priority and that I'm not trying to do things based off of my own strength. Right. I think sometimes when we try to do things based off our own strength, it's like, I kind of, I've been reading a lot of the prison epistles this year, like really just stuck on like just the epistles that Paul wrote in James and everything. And he talked about how like if the law that was given to the Israelites could save us, there wouldn't have been need for Jesus to come, right? And so Jesus came because the law was based on what? Based on us doing the action, right? Hey, don't do that, do this, and you'll be in right standing with the Lord, right? Or the sacrifice, stuff like that. Jesus came to be like, hey, I'm here to fulfill it. And I'm here, and it's no longer by your own strength. It's by me. It's because of me that you're set free. And I think sometimes we can fall into the law mindset where it's like, if I do, then I will be. But it's simply just be, and Christ has already done it.
Come on.
Bro, and so I think, and I think if you just do that with video games and anything else in life, right? you know, for me, like, honestly, like, I'm getting myself back in a situation where I'm, you know, trying to get back in shape, trying to be more active. And I've realized that it's so funny that when you get set free of one thing, something else will try to pop up. And I'm like, man, God, like I've been doing stuff at a computer for the past 2 years. I haven't taken care of myself, really. You know, like I've allowed in moments of my desire. Because, dude, here's the thing: even when I am in shape, dude, or I am like inactive, dude, I'm a foodie, dude. Like I'm big back through and through, bro. Like, you know, like it's what it is, man. I love, yeah, exactly, especially really good food. But I'm like also like, man, God, like I've allowed laziness in you know being lethargic take over me sometimes, because like I'm like I don't have enough time to do this. No. It's like, but I want to make sure that my body is a temple of the Holy Spirit, that I can take care of, and I'm there for my family, and I'm there taking care of. So I've dealt with one thing, now I got to deal with this other thing, you know. And so the Lord is taking me through that even now. But I'm not trying to be like, and of course, like I need to watch what I eat, blah blah blah. But I've realized that as I'm drawing closer to God, and I have this connection where I'm like, God, this is the desire. I want to make sure that I am a present dad. I'm not gonna like die when I'm 45 because I didn't take care of myself, you know. And I'm doing this, and like, God, I want to draw closer to you. And because I'm drawing closer to God, it like almost like quickens me. Like anytime that I feel this temptation of like, you know what, that's fine, I can order DoorDash or whatever like that. You know, God's like, nah, you can go eat some carrots. And I'm like, dude, let's go. You know, like I'll go, you know, and so, you know, it's just, you know, it's funny that it's just real, you know. God will he'll get you, dude, and he will. Anytime that you draw near to him and you're about to do something that you shouldn't, God, you know, since we're so close to him and we're feeding our spirit, he's going to quicken our spirit and be like, oh, that's not right, I shouldn't be doing that. Or convict, or we'll be more open to the conviction of the Holy Spirit, even in the little things in our lives. So anyway, bro, I just yapped forever. So there it is.
I go on so much about like stewardship and discipline, like, just in general, because those are the concepts of even like a healthy lifestyle. And like my wife and I are like a huge, like the past 2 years of like trying to just improve our health in all areas. And man, like I just think it's so important. I think the stewardship and the discipline is so important. And actually, I was just reading literally today, 1 Timothy, I think it's 4 that I was in, where he says like, you know, your physical body, like the discipline in it is good, but how much more, like training your physical body is what he says, the discipline is of little value, but how much more value then is of the godliness, training in godliness, because it impacts this life and the next life. So it's like even Paul, he's saying like, hey, he's obviously emphasizing godliness, but he's even saying there is value in training your physical body. And to your point, it's like we might die early because we didn't take care of our health, or we might just not be able to physically meet the needs of other people in serving or ministry because our health is good, or if we're sick all the time because of what we're doing in our life, it's like we can't show up for our family or people. So anyways, I could go on for a long time about that, 'cause I'm so passionate about it right now.
Yes, indeed.
I just love it. But yeah, man, I love that. I love your vulnerability too, and your honesty of like, you know, the Lord help me move into, or like, you know, go through one space, do this thing, we're doing something here, but now there's another area in my life where the Lord's saying, hey, we got to get this in check so that you can continue doing my work.
Do more, to be honest, to do more, you know, like, you know, I've been traveling a lot more lately too, you know, and it's like, God, I want to be able to, I also, you know, and the funny thing is too, and the Lord's really convicted me about like taking care of my physical health, like really hard. And I'm like, Lord, like I also want to show this example where it's like, you know, the stereotype of a gamer is like, you never touch grass, you never blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I want to be able to like show like, hey, no, we're gaming. I game a lot, but yet I also take care of my physical body. And I also take care of my family, and I also do this, you know? And so it's both ways. And so I feel like too, in order to even win the hearts of churches and people who are in this space and the Christian space, of showing that it's like, hey, like we're living a disciplined lifestyle. Yes, we're using gaming and using something that could potentially be, you know, something that if you're not disciplined enough, like it could potentially be something that you're addicted to. But like gaming itself is not bad. I can be addicted to food. I can be addicted to watching sports or golf or fishing or whatever it is, or any other extracurricular activity that causes me to take my eyes off of my family and the Lord. But that's not the case, you know? And so just trying to be an example even for the next generation as well, you know, a lot of youth events, places that we're going to, a lot of different things. And so, but just being disciplined and, you know, showing up with how the Lord tells you to show up, you know?
Come on. I love it, man. All right. Well, I mean, this conversation was awesome. It went a direction that I didn't expect, but I'm so glad that it went there.
Let's go, dude.
I hope people are like, I hope people are fired up about the gaming space, honestly, because to me, it's near to my heart too, like I said, because I grew up gaming. So just knowing that what you're doing, like, not just that you're doing it, but that it's so fruitful, man. Like, it's so encouraging to me, and I just love it so much. Let people know where they can find you, where they can join the Discord, or if they just want to follow your content.
Yeah. So I'm on all platforms. If you want to find me, it's either DeadlyDill or DeadlyDill Gaming, Instagram, Instagram, X, TikTok, Twitch, Rumble, YouTube, everywhere. I'm all over there. And then Discord is discord.gg/deadlyfam. And so you'll be able to just join that direct link and come hang out with us. We have a good time, you know. We have a lot of things. We have Bible studies going on like crazy. We have Monday night Bible study for the entire community, game nights, anything you can name it. We're doing a lot of cool things. So we'd love to have you guys come join us.
For sure. And I'll put a link to the Discord, and I can grab some of your socials too and put those in the description. So if people want to check it out, they can. But man, thank you so much for joining me, brother. Like, this is such a good conversation, but now it's time to go eat some carrots and
100%, dude. It was awesome.